Hello there, everyone. It's Michelle McLean here. I'm really happy to be with you today. We're going to dive into a really hot coaching topic, sort of a sticky client situation, which is all around what to do when your client is stuck in the weeds. So I want to talk a little bit about what this might sound like and what it might show up like in your client sessions with your clients. And then I want to share a strategy with you that we can use to help pull those clients out of the weeds. So in your coaching, you may have noticed that you've got clients who are stuck. They're kind of focused on the small details and not able to move forward. And if you're feeling like that or have experienced any clients like that, I think this will be helpful for you today. So we use this sort of metaphor of it being in the weeds in coaching. Of course, it's used in other aspects of life too, but it is a common concept in coaching, to describe those clients who have maybe sort of strayed off track. They've kind of strayed off that main trail and they find themselves really like surrounded by all those weeds and they're unable or unsure of how to get back on track. So like I said, they're caught up in the details, they're in the minutia, they're in the mundane of life, and they're losing sight of that bigger picture. So in health coaching, I just wanted to give you a few examples of what this might look like or how it might show up with your clients. So, maybe it's just a client who has so many issues and problems in their own life, they're overwhelmed and they're finding it hard to focus or make that progress. It could be related to, many health issues or symptoms that they might be having, and they really can't sort of rise above to see what's possible. They're maybe sort of feeling a little bit victimized, that kind of woe is me, poor is me, life is just so horrible, and they might be complaining a lot. Those types of clients are typically stuck in the weeds. It could be, overwhelmed with all of life's responsibilities, right? So they can't really find that time to rise up and see the bigger picture, that they do need to focus on their health and stay on track. It could be someone who, if you know stages of change, someone who is sort of stuck in the preparation stage, which is before taking action, and they're stuck in, all the preparing and all the planning, they need to do all of that perfectly before they can actually take action. It could be, someone stuck in the weeds of just contemplating, well, should I or shouldn't I, and should I and shouldn't I? The stages of change, there can be different levels of kind of being in the weeds at each of those as well. Let me see, someone who's making all kinds of excuses, right? If you hear someone, oh, I just couldn't get to it this week because this happened and then this happened and then, the whole list of things, right? So making all of those excuses as to why they either didn't get started or why they're not taking action with their goals or their action steps, why they didn't complete those. It could be also, just a client who's lost sight, right, of their bigger why. And they're just focused on taking all of these action steps, but they're really not connected to anything bigger. It could be a client who is just, again, so focused on the details that they never get anything done. Well, when am I going to do it? And how am I going to do it? And who else is going to support me? And, they're just sort of ruminating and stuck in all of that planning kind of phase. It could be that they're also stuck in the past, right? They're stuck in the weeds of the past. Well, I've always done it this way, so they can't even think about how to do things differently. It could also be someone who is just trying to do it all themselves, right? Doing everything in life. These are sort of those control freak types that, we might know. They're like those micromanagers, right? Who are just trying to manage every little detail of their team. So these types of clients are really trying to micromanage their life with all of those details, and that's really where they're stuck. So just wanted to give you a few examples of what that might look like with a health coaching client. The bottom line is that whatever behavior the client is demonstrating, chances are they're stuck, right? They're not moving forward, not doing action steps, not making progress toward their goals, and really can't take that action. So that's really how you'll know maybe if your client is stuck in the weeds. So, I want to talk a little bit about the coaching process now and share a strategy with you that you can use to help bring your client out of the weeds. And I think, it is really important for us as good coaches to know that, we do have to start with the bigger picture with our clients, right? We start with laying the foundation by helping the client explore their deeper why. Why is their health and well-being important to them? We want to dig into that. We want to dig into their vision and help them explore what's possible, to gain new perspectives and look at their life in a new way and get excited about those possibilities, that could happen in the future if they're able to overcome all of these challenges. So these are really key aspects of the behavioral change coaching process, that we use to coach through. So I also want to say that, usually in coaching, we're fluctuating between big picture and details, right? We start big picture and then we help our client narrow things into some intentions, some goals, and some action plans. But in the course of our coaching, we're always coming back to the big picture, right? We're fluctuating between those two places of big picture, here's your deeper why is this important to you? And then, those action plans of, okay, what specifically are you going to do back in your day-to-day life to move toward those visions and goals? So just, some perspective, sometimes we are in the weeds, right? And sometimes, we're looking at the big picture. So one strategy that I want to share with you today to sort of pull your client out of the weeds is to invite them up to the balcony. So you may have heard this before. It's really about helping your client rise above the crisis, the challenge, the excuses, the details, right? To see that bigger whole picture of their life, which is so, so important. So, I've got some questions here for you that you might just want to jot down, sort of a coaching process, if you will, to go through a path of questions. You may also want to do this as like a guided visualization with your client. So whatever works best for you, I'll give you sort of the questions and the strategy, and then you can decide how you want to implement it with your own clients. So, you may even just have a conversation with your client about going through this, right? You may say something like, I've really noticed recently that you're stuck, that you're not moving forward. I can tell that you're really focused on the details. Maybe you're saying something like, I'm hearing maybe some excuses or some limiting beliefs happening. You're kind of stuck in the minutia of life. I was wondering, if you might be interested in doing an exercise today that might help rise above all of that to gain some new perspective and possibilities. Are you open to working through this exercise with me? So if they are, hopefully they are, then you can just invite the client to get comfortable in their seat, place their feet on the floor, rest their hands in their lap, and close their eyes. And then kind of just guide them through this process, right? So I invite you to imagine that you're up on a balcony. This is overlooking the stage below. Maybe you're in a big concert hall, an auditorium, and on the stage is your life. That's your life playing out on the stage. And that's where you usually are, right? In the minutia, in the day-to-day of your life. So I want you to take it all in. And view the situation in its totality. I invite you to let go of all the feelings and emotions that come up from actually being in your life or the particular situation that the client's in. And with this unobstructed view of your life, with this new perspective, I just invite you to think about the following questions. So what do you notice? What's really going on from this perspective in your life? What patterns are you noticing? What do you see as you look down now that maybe you haven't seen before? How do you feel, when you look down at your life from this perspective? What becomes clear as you look at your life from this unobstructed view? What's most important to you now? What do you really want? What does the future look like? And where do you want to be? So then you can just invite the client to think about those questions, and when they're ready, maybe just inviting them to take a couple of breaths. When they're ready, they can come back, flutter their eyes back open, and then you could have them either just take a couple of moments to jot down what they notice, like on a piece of paper, or just really ask them to share with you. What did you notice? Tell me about that experience. How was that for you? What are you noticing now? So this again is just that great tool. Bring the client out of the weeds, invite them up to the balcony to see the bigger picture, to gain that perspective of their whole life, right? The deeper why. Why is this important to them? So like I said before, it is going to be important to lay some of this foundational work early on with your client. I really encourage new coaches to do this foundational work as part of, those first few sessions. And then, as I said, you're constantly coming back to this, right? You're starting big. You're going to help the client, set some intentions and goals and action steps, which you're going to, hold them accountable to as you go through the coaching process. But you always are coming back to this big picture, right? Because it's the why. Why do they want to be healthier? Why are they wanting to make these changes? And it's important to, bring them back to that so they can get out of the weeds sometimes and get that new perspective. So if your client is stuck, this might be a great strategy to, take them through a bit of a visualization, or even just asking them these questions. And then as you go through, once you've done this with the client, a time or two, then they'll be used to it, right? You can say, okay, let's go up to the balcony, today. Where are you today? You might want to start, each session or every couple of sessions with, let's go to the balcony first. Where are you? What's that bigger picture perspective? And then, okay, what specifically do you want to focus on today? We can use this in so many different ways in our coaching. So a great coaching strategy that really aligns with the behavioral change process that we're helping our clients with. So if you have any questions about this, I'd be happy to answer them. If you want to post them in the comments below, I'd love to dig into this further with you. So I hope it's been helpful, and I thank you for tuning in today. So take good care, everyone. Bye for now.